All right.
Let's do this for Peter.
All right.
Start banging that table.
Right.
You don't have a gavel.
How do we go with this? It's we go with start with the pledge, and then I do the emergency, and then moment of silence, right?
Right.
Well, emergency first.
It's
All
up
right.
to you. Whatever you want.
My style, right?
Go for it,
Okay.
Robert.
All right. All right. Thanks for everybody showing. I just want to remind everybody there's three exits. There's one right here in the back. There's the doors right behind you, and then there's an exit at the back of the hall. So we're going to start with a pledge of allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before we take a seat, just a moment of silence for our servicemen serving and those who served in the past. Okay, thank you.
I was taken back to that crap. Give me a postcard.
Just one quick announcement. John Fristacci is not here tonight. I'm Rob Lopane. I'll chair the meeting for the night. The first thing is, have we all had a chance to review the minutes for May 2025 and October 2025?
I have.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for May 2025 and October 2000?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous? Okay, so the first item on our agenda is the Garrido two-family. If you want to come up to the podium, please. We're going to need to reopen the public hearing, I think.
Yes.
I'll make a move to reopen the public hearing.
I'll second.
Okay. If you could just give a brief description of your project and...
Suppose you should actually vote on it, though, too. It was
Oh, yeah, right, sorry.
moved and seconded.
It's been seconded. All in favor to open the public meeting?
Aye.
Against? Motion carries. Yeah, if you just give us a brief
All right.
presentation.
My name is Norm Jansa. I'm with Westchester Modular Construction. We're representing Bay Garrido for a new two-family residence that she's going to be constructing at 14 Sunrise Drive. So we have gone through the zoning board and now on to this final, hopefully final meetings of the planning board. You should have drawings. We have our drawings here. As you can see, most of you probably know this, but it's right here on this corner at Sunrise. And we have some...
Excuse me, I'm sorry, we've seen it, would you mind facing that to the public, because they're going to be speaking today?
This is like I said, two-family house that we're proposing for Sunrise for her and her husband. And it's a modular construction that will be built and set on a foundation for her. And nice with elevations, different details, floor plans showing how it's laid out, and if there's any questions, we're happy to answer them. And Faye, you want to say anything about you personally?
At one meeting, somebody asked if I had board approval, and I didn't have it with me at the time, but I have certified copies if you wanted to look at that, just so you know that.
That's fine, Faye. I trust you. If you say you got it certified, our engineer's going to confirm it anyway, so,
I turned it,
Yeah.
I think you have a copy. You have a copy
Yeah, I
in
do.
the office. So.
Yep.
yeah. I mean, does any of the board members want to see the map, the certified map? Okay. Thanks.
I mean, basically, Norm talked about what we're planning to do, and I think that the proposed building is going to fit well in the neighborhood. I could have done a 3-story multi-family unit, but I decided not to do that. And we put a lot of thought into the design of the structure. I think it would be a nice addition.
I think we've really tried to work with the town with the site planning and landscaping, driveway, anything and everything that the town asked for, we've accommodated, and we appreciate your time.
All right, great, thank you.
I would like to ask if the board would consider this evening granting site plan approval, special use permit, and architectural approval, so we can hopefully move forward and maybe bring my husband home in a couple of months.
Oh, that would be great.
That's the goal.
Yep, absolutely. All right, thank you. Dan, did you want to go over your comments first, or should we have?
Not necessarily, but I will mention, just for the record, because the certified letters, there were 2 of them that went out a little bit late last month, and that's why this meeting was continued, the public hearing was continued this month. At the advice of the town legal counsel last month, they mentioned about re-advertising in the paper, and they did that. I saw the affidavit of that publication, so.
All right, terrific. And we did open it up for public comment, I think, last month, but we'll, I think at this point, I'd like to invite anyone from the community, from the neighborhood, if anyone would like to speak on this project, please come to the podium. Please mention your name and your address. Is there anyone who would like to come up and speak on this project? We're happy to hear from you. If you have anything you'd like to say, even if you want to say something positive about the project, if you'd like to come up, we're happy to hear what you have to say. Anybody? Okay. Hearing no one, I'll make a motion to, I know there's always that concern that once we close the public hearing, we set off a time clock. So is there any reason that you guys think that there's imminent issues that we need to wait for to keep the hearing open?
I don't think so. I think if the board is going to ask the applicant to make any substantial revisions to the plan, then that would be a reason to keep it open. But if not, then I don't see any other apparent reason why you would need to keep it open any longer.
Okay. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Claude, you can vote too if you'd like. Okay.
I did, I was just not that.
Oh, okay. Let the record show you voted in the affirmative. Okay, so unanimous, the public hearing's closed. All right, so at this point, we'll open it up to, let's hear, Dan maybe you can just, I read your comment letter, but if you want to just summarize.
Yeah, there's not a lot of outstanding issues remaining at this point. One of the things I had suggested that the board could do is review the aquifer overlay standards and responses that were placed on the plan. That's something we typically go through each of the 5 standards and just
For
have
the
a quick,
aquifer overlay?
Yeah, quick discussion. Generally my opinion on this is, it's a very simple application in terms of disturbance. It's very limited. It's a normal type of, sewage generation flow, not a lot of water going out of the aquifer for the project to sustain itself, but, it's up to the board to go through those standards.
Okay.
And then there's a few other things after that. I don't know if you want to do that, I can pause on what I'm saying, or I can just go through a few of the other things.
Let's go through the aquifer standards now. And if we can have someone from the applicant up there to help us answer these questions, or if we have any questions. What page is that?
It's on the site plan sheet. to the first page of the sheet set.
Oh, I gave that to you.
Should we read them?
I'll read them, and then maybe you could just help us, because this goes in the seeker, right?
This is as a type 2 action here, so, but it's in our code under 15512 that the planning board has to look at this because it's within the aquifer overlay zone. I can barely see it.
Yeah, you may have to read it for us, because yeah, I see them. All right, so aquifer standard number 1, and we have to vote on it, right? Individually or collectively?
Normally do at the end.
Yeah, all right, so, so these are the standards by which we judge whether there's going to be an impact to the aquifer. If, according to our maps, there's an aquifer underneath the project site, and it's not just under the project site, it's under a big part of it's under a portion of that town that contains the aquifer, that contains the project site. So we have to make sure that as we're reviewing the application that we concur that there's not going to be any impact to the aquifer. So we do that by reviewing 5 standards. And the first standard being, does the project appreciably alter the subsurface flow of groundwater to private water wells and existing and potential public water supply? And your response was the new private water well has been placed within the correct setbacks and distances. Okay, so does anyone have any issues with that, or you accept that?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't see that. It's not a lot of ground disturbance, so, and there's no subsurface disturbance or changing of the groundwater, so I concur. Item number 2, does the project appreciably degrade the quality of the groundwater through the introduction of sewage waste, stormwater runoff, liquid chemicals, petroleum products, dissolved metals, or other toxic substances? And your response on your sheet is the septic system has been designed and approved based on New York State standards. So I'm assuming you're saying that because, I mean, I would have probably said the project doesn't involve the deposition of liquid chemicals, petroleum products, or dissolved metals. Is that correct? I mean, that's true for like a gas station. This is not like a gas station. It's not not what I would consider a hotspot. So, and the fact that it was approved by the Board of Health, the New York State, in accordance with New York State standards, you can pretty much count on that fact. So, I don't have any issues. Does anybody from the board have any issues?
No.
Okay, number 3, the project appreciably increases the long-term risk of groundwater contamination through the siting, establishment, or expansion of uses which store, transport, or utilize significant quantities of material which is potentially harmful to groundwater quality. So will you be using any significant quantity of materials potentially harmful to groundwater quality? Okay. Your response was the site is only to be used as a single-family residence. There will be no storage, transport, or of any material.
It's a 2-family.
I mentioned that in my review letter, that should be updated on their plan.
2-family.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good pickup. But I think still the truth that it won't be.
The standards.
It's residential.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Number 4.
I gotta bring a magnifier.
Yeah, I'm able to read this, so that's impressive.
I can't.
You're gonna pass the eye test.
Will the project appreciably increase the long-term risk of groundwater contamination through the introduction of relatively small quantities of hazardous or toxic substances which, over a period of time, may accumulate in the groundwater? Well, to me, that's similar to the previous question.
Yeah, I just put the same answer.
Yeah. Gotcha. The site's for single-family residents, so.
Yeah, that can be it. We'll definitely change that on the site plan before they go to the
Yeah, please change that to multifamily residence or two-family residence. We want them to change it to two-family residence, right?
That's what it is.
Okay, and is the board in concurrence with that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's
Okay.
Board of Health approved.
All right, and the fifth standard and final standard is, will the project appreciably increase the risk of groundwater contamination through the removal of soil, sand, stone, or gravel, which provides a protective mantle for groundwater, or which is part of the geologic deposits making up the town's aquifers? Okay, I see you use the same thing. There will be no removal of any material that is protective to the groundwater. So, I see no reason why they would, that it's clear to me, it's just they're building a house, so there's no reason to remove. It's not a quarry, they're not removing, there's no big earth-moving operation, so there's no reason to believe that that would have that impact. Do you guys concur?
Concur.
Okay. All right, so then I will make a motion to approve with one modification, the justification for why there's no impact to the aquifer, that they do need to change the single-family to two-family. Do I have a second?
I'll say.
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, is that acceptable? Okay.
One of the other things, they've increased the landscaping now. So the plan, if you go to the second sheet, has a landscaping schedule. And associated with that landscaping schedule, there's a letter which correlates to the areas that are shown on the first sheet.
Yeah. Green giant arborvitaes, peonies, Chesapeake holly, quickfire hydrangea, inkberries, and red maples. There's going to be 4 red maples. Nice.
Yeah, so the red maples, they actually they added 2 since the last submittal along Sunrise. So now there'll be 4
Great.
red maples along the street.
It's gonna look good.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
They
Yeah,
also
that's,
added some of the maintenance schedules that I'd asked for on there as well, so.
yep, and the other plantings are mostly around the edges of the foundation of the house.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's an existing 24-inch tree that looks like an evergreen, I guess. It's got an evergreen symbol, but you're going to keep that 24-inch tree?
It's not really dead, yes.
Okay.
There's a large maple.
Maybe that's the maple, but that symbol is typically like a evergreen symbol. But that's all right, it's a minor semantics. All right, so I'm glad you added the extra trees, because that's consistent with what we want to do in the town center. which
Yeah, we
is-
were trying to make a bit of a tree line along the street, both sides, so.
Yep.
Had some interest.
Yep, I think we asked for that, so I think that's great. I appreciate your responding to that. So, any other comment from the board? Anybody want to
that's good.
comment? Claude? Peter, you good
I'm good.
with the landscaping? All right.
And the other issue for discussion was the refuse enclosure, which was moved to the rear of the structure, which is suggested in the code for town center. And they also put a detail on the second sheet on how it would be enclosed. They're using a sun-cast garbage enclosure. So it's covered on the top and doors.
Yeah. That's good. Did they show the location in the back of the
Yeah, it's
house?
on
Yeah,
the
so-
back of the house along the right side. If you look, you can see it's, go up,
Back right?
Oh, okay.
back right. Mhm.
Garbage enclosure, gotcha.
Yep.
All right, so it's out of the view. That's great. And what else?
So I had suggested if you were satisfied with those items that you could consider granting preliminary site plan approval.
It looks like they're going to remove the part of the existing driveway to be disconnected?
That was one of the changes, was the highway superintendent noted that there was limited sight distance coming in with the driveway previously cited. So if you look at where the two red maples are that are relatively close to this latest driveway, the driveway used to go in between those two. And so
Right.
this is utilizing existing driveway cut, and it gives a little more separation to the turn on Sunrise. So I forwarded this plan to the highway superintendent for his review as well. Haven't heard back just yet, but it was very recent.
Okay. And then it also says the shed is going to be moved? Because it,
What's gonna happen is we're gonna do a lot realignment, and that shed will be on the other property.
right,
Yeah, there's a little discrepancy on that because it does, the comment response said that the shed was going to be removed, or moved, I should say, not removed. And also the plan says that. So either way, as far as I'm concerned, as long as
It's on the other.
it becomes compliant, I don't necessarily have an issue with how it gets compliant.
okay.
And there's a physical disconnection of the driveway now along the area of the future lot line adjustment.
Oh, all right, good. All right, does any of the board members have any questions or comments they want to make? Or you want to discuss?
No, landscaping looks good. What about you, Pete?
I'm on board. I agree with Jason.
Well, that's good. Looks like you got three goods.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you've been here for 3 or 4 months at this point, so we had you make some changes.
Well, I think the changes only made the project nicer.
Oh, all right, great. Yeah, no, I think so too. I think it's going to be a beautiful spot, a beautiful place. I don't have any other issues, so what are the actions that we want to, I know you were asking to go for preliminary plot approval?
Site, special use, and architectural approval.
Right.
And just for the board, I know I put it in here, but the items we talked about with the architectural review last month, I had asked them to make sure that they just put that in on the elevations, and I reviewed that compared to the notes I took from that night, and everything seemed to be, comport with what they said previously, so.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Everything nice and neat and taken care of, so. All right, so we have to do these separate, right? The architectural review separate, and then,
Yeah, I was just going to ask, so Dan, it sounds like from your letter, the board previously discussed the design standards for the TC district. Did they make a finding on that?
Yes, we
Previously?
talked about lighting, we talked about some of the things that weren't going to be necessary, like trash enclosures and things like that. But we mentioned about the sidewalk, there's going to be a covenant that if the 8-acre parcel is ever developed to the town center standard, that the sidewalk will be installed along this section.
Okay, so I just want to make sure
Yeah,
the board already found that it.
is that just a condition, or that gets,
That's kind of the same idea as the aquifer overlay standards. Just a finding that the project complies with the standards for the TC zoning district.
okay. So does someone want to make a motion that the standards will comply with the architecture?
So section 155-9, the standards for the TC zoning district.
Would anybody like to make a motion? Well, we're making a motion, it's basically for our architectural review. We reviewed her drawings for the elevations last week, we made comments, and now we're making a motion to approve the standards under section such and such, that it meets the standards for our town center.
You in agreement, Jason?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'll make a motion that we approve the architectural design.
Do I have a second?
Awesome.
Okay, any discussion?
No, we discussed before a couple items that we were mutually
Yep.
okay with, so it's fine.
All right,
Any food plug?
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Unanimous?
And before before the board moves to voting on any of the resolutions, do you want to talk about conditions at all? Any conditions that you might want to attach to any of the three approvals? I know Dana just mentioned the driveway.
The sidewalk covenant, that's a condition, right?
Okay, yep.
And, so are you okay with that, Fay, that you don't want to install the sidewalk now, or, but,
If and when I sell the 8 acres, it'll be part of the condition of the sale.
yeah,
So put the sidewalks in, I'll get an easement, so that's no problem.
okay,
And I'm gonna be here for 20 years, so.
all right. Is that what you're giving yourself, 20 years?
I'm thinking at 21.
Okay, all right. I mean, other than any other, what are,
Normal
there's some
conditions would
standard
be,
conditions.
just making sure that application fees and escrows are always there. We always have in there satisfaction of the latest engineering review letter, so that would be the November 19th, 2025 letter.
We
there-
usually have the health department, but she's already got that.
Right, that's already there, and that's already kind of noted in my history of my review letters at this point. In this particular case, there'd be some special conditions that we don't normally have, but being that there's this driveway encroachment and the shed encroachment, what I've suggested and what we've talked about, the board has discussed, was a way to make sure that that gets corrected. And the way I saw it would be that we need to make sure that there's some teeth to that make sure it gets done. And so we've suggested and talked about before any certificate of occupancy is granted for the structure, that's corrected. And whether that's corrected by physically removing the driveway or doing the lot line alteration, again, I don't really necessarily care about the means, but it has to be done. And same with the shed. So there'd be two conditions that the building inspector cannot or should not issue a certificate of occupancy until the shed and the driveways have been corrected.
We talked about that, and that's fine.
Yeah, if that's written, that should be fine.
All right, that's fine, yeah.
Okay,
agree.
So the general and then those two specific conditions.
So we'd be making a motion for
And-
site plan approval with the following conditions.
And we do always have a space for the applicant to sign the resolution now, making sure that they have read and understand the conditions of the approval.
Right,
So we've been making that a condition of approval recently as well.
that sounds like a good idea.
We think so.
Yeah, all right,
People seem to sometimes say, oh, I didn't know that. And then,
right,
sure
Yeah.
you did, you signed it.
yeah, exactly.
So this is conditional site plan approval, or is this which one is it?
It would be conditional. I think the way your code structures it is it would be conditional preliminary site plan approval, and then once the conditions are satisfied, the final approval is when the chairman actually signs the site plan itself. Does that sound right to you again from your?
Yeah, what we normally do is we normally do a preliminary and a conditional final approval.
Okay.
And then once those conditions are satisfied, then the chair will sign the plan.
Okay, so.
Yeah, and then this one would also be special use permit.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion for preliminary and conditional final site plan approval with the following conditions. I'm going to ask you to read them out, Dan.
Okay, so preparation of the sidewalk covenant to the satisfaction of the town attorney.
Agreed?
Satisfaction of the November 19th, 2025 engineering letter. Payment of application, confirmation of payment of application fees and final escrow fees. Let's see, we put,
You got the driveway, the sidewalk covenant?
Yep, the signing of the resolution.
Signing of the
And that
resolution.
would all have to be done before the chair can sign. That would be the conditions that would have to be done before the chairman could sign the plans.
Okay.
Because the letter encompasses all the other items.
And then additional conditions prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy would be satisfaction of either the moving of the shed or a lot line realignment that brings it into compliance,
Yes.
and the physical removal of the driveway section or a lot line realignment that brings the driveway into compliance.
So moved. Was there any other conditions?
I think that was it.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous? All right,
Thank you.
I think we're done.
Did we get the
Done
special
deal.
use permit in that too? Did we roll that in with the site plan?
It
Oh,
was a preliminary site plan, conditional site plan, and special use permit.
yeah,
Was that
yes.
how
that's
it was asked? I don't remember.
I don't think the special use was included in there, but it's implied here, right?
So do you want to have a separate vote just to be safe?
Probably safest to do it.
So I'll make a motion to grant special use permit. That doesn't need to be conditional because the
No,
other
it
one
doesn't.
covers the conditions.
No.
And if you want, while you're here, if you want to do one for the architectural approval too, you can.
I thought we just did that.
That I think we did,
I think
Yeah.
it's kind of rolled in, so up to you guys.
yeah. I think we already did that,
Yeah, we did.
yeah. So I'm making a motion to grant special use permit approval.
Second.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Done.
Done.
Next.
Faye, do you want to come up and,
So they did that.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
okay, next one is Duchess Contracting Corporation. There he is. State your name and your reason for being here tonight.
Brian Watts from Days-to-Close Engineering, here on behalf of the applicant. At the last meeting, we had closed the public hearing with discussions ongoing regarding basically drainage was the main issue, DOT and utility status, so we just wanted to give an update on that. I thought I was going to have an update for this meeting from the applicant's other consultants regarding DOT. I have not heard anything new on that front. My understanding is they're still working with them.
Hold on one second. Faye,
I'm sorry.
that's all right.
Sorry, go ahead.
Is it all right? Yeah, okay, go ahead.
So we are waiting an update regarding the DOT and the turning lane status with the DOT. And the same for the preliminary.
Excuse me, sir? Sir? Can you just either go off to the side, because you're interrupting me. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Regarding the utilities and basically that would be Board of Health approval as well, waiting on the preliminary pump station design. But we're still set on the amenities we plan on providing in terms of enough capacity to serve the area in general. As far as drainage, we've been working with Dan offline a little bit on just making sure that we're all comfortable with the pre and post in terms of the pond in the corner. Up to this point, we've had a outlet that discharges towards the front of the neighboring property and generally will end up in the DOT right away. We're just trying to make sure at this point that with Dan's review as well, that we're not actually increasing our site discharge to the DOT. So I've gone back through and remodeled the existing pond. Initially, this is the existing pond. Initially, in my analysis, we basically just what goes into the pond, how much comes out, let's mitigate that. I've gone through, Dan, and I've specifically outlined how much is going through the pipe. This is the existing pipe that's discharging to the neighbor's property, and there is the top of berm for the pond. So we revised this to show the discharge that's going specifically through the pipe and how much is going over that berm for various storms. And there's a little bit of flow difference. There's not a ton going to the neighbor's property, but it is directed directly towards the side of their yard. So I've done a slight revision here where I've maintained what we've had so far and added the additional outlet here, which will lessen it from DOT, what we're discharging to them slightly, and direct it as into the existing conditions to the rear of the house. There's the swale area that goes in the rear of that property. In the current condition, it looks like it was installed as part of probably when the main road was actually put in many, many moons ago. So we still have a pre and post. The total leaving the site is less than now than it was before, and we're differentiating a little bit so that everyone sees less water overall. Just a little bit more detailed analysis. I'm not sure if Dan had a chance to review that submission at all today. It was towards the end a little bit, but I was...
Yeah, Eric from my office took a quick look at it, and he shot me a text real quick about it. And he thought that we might just have to have those two different design points so that we can have a clear pre versus post analysis of all those spots, so.
It's in the, I sent over some of the HydroCAD models where the node has a primary and a secondary in each one. The primary is what's spilling over the berm, basically going towards the DOT right away, and secondary is what's going to the neighboring property.
Right.
So the direction we're aiming this pipe is, it's more in line with where the swale basically appears to be. There's a tree line that follows the neighbors. That's where the flow appears to be, it wants to go.
So I'd say maybe just like a tabulation pre versus post at all those locations with all the different storms.
Yes, I sent over with the, basically the event summary for each pre-post total pond elevation. We still maintain about a little over a foot of freeboard in the 100-year storm. Nothing overflows, everything mitigated from each pipe and the sum.
All right, but I'm just a little confused because we've had our community neighboring residences come up and say that their backyard's flooded from that pond. And your previous plans showed just draining to the swale along 55, which made sense to me. Removing any potential seepage or drainage towards your neighbor's lot. Now you're coming back with a plan that's maintaining a drain conveyance towards the neighbor.
We're trying.
Can you see where I might be a little confused why we would do that?
We're trying to limit the what's going to DOT. There was concerns that we're having too much flow to DOT, and we want the post coming out of this board.
Who's expressing that concern?
We discussed at the previous meeting that we didn't want DOT to have an increase in flow.
Really? I don't know.
We had mentioned that there were some historic issues along that section with the roadside swale.
I think we were worried about the conveyance and whether there was actually a swale there, and you know, will it accept the water, and is it potentially going to flood the guy's house next door? I know, talking about that, but I never expressed any concern about the quantity of water going to the swale, or I don't recall any of my board members, but I won't speak for them. But again, going back to, I know I have expressed concerns about any potential flooding on the neighbors, and you're maintaining an overflow pipe towards the neighbor's backyard. Do you have any rights over that drainage channel? Is there an easement behind the neighbor's property?
There's not an existing easement that I'm aware of. It's just an existing condition. We can look at the aerials and the topography. US topo maps, and you can see that the water has always wanted to go that way. This entire area wants to flow that way. He's actually, these neighboring properties are kind of in the path of everything uphill. So
Yeah,
we're
but you're
just,
creating more impervious surfaces, so it would consider less absorption to create more water to collect, no? And now, like to Rob's point, if you're directing it towards that, wouldn't that make it worse logically, or no?
well, the CFS has been reduced, so the flow rate has been significantly reduced. This was a 24-inch pipe in the pre. And so we're showing it as a 12-inch in this one, directed at a better angle so it doesn't shoot directly towards the house, so it's directed more towards that existing swale line that's present and always been. It should still, pre-post is still less. I mean, that's the most we could ever do is reduce the pre and the post
I mean,
to less than the pre.
I mean, I don't want to speak for anyone here, but I mean, if we are developing a nearby property and we're trying to engineer some sort of solution, the fact of, well, historically it flows there anyway, doesn't necessarily, no pun intended, hold water to me. I would think we would want to figure out some means to prevent it from potentially flooding, because could be, possibly, whatever, isn't going to help that neighbor if it's underwater, right?
Well, all the high flows will still be directed towards, as they are in the current condition.
But once that
Towards
reaches
DOT.
a flow limit, it's going to back, right? You're going to only be able to flow so much through that direction to DOT, right? And then once the backflow is going to be what you're directing there, that's going to be an overflow for what the limit is reached on that.
No,
DOT,
the overflow, the top of the grate, the pond outlet, the top frame, this is the top, that's directed to DOT.
right? Okay.
Along with the, if you remember, we have a 3-inch orifice in that pond that's at the water level, that's going to keep the water at the current level, that's also directed to DOT.
Okay.
So the pipe that's going to his backyard, is that an overflow pipe, or is that pipe going to help maintain the water surface and thus?
It's going to allow controlled discharge from the pond for the middle storms, if you will. The small orifice is for the very small common storms. It's all going to be directed here at a controlled rate. And then as the pond starts filling up and overwhelms the 3-inch orifice, some of that water is going to spill over through this conveyance system. It'll be less than what it does now through all storms. If that becomes overwhelmed, and we have the big one, if you will, this grate's going to overflow and it's going to discharge down to the DOT right away.
Hey, Chris, is there a lot between Bogatis and Stop and Shop?
Yes.
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 Okay, based on that, what you would be doing is potentially adding water in effect to that lot. And I think that what you need to do is to direct as much water as you can to the state and tell them to adjust their thinking and design so that that water flow, however, would go down along Route 55 and where it is designed, I believe, to empty ultimately into the creek. I'm against you adding any additional waters to
Neighbor's property.
the neighbor's property, because it'll not only impact the neighbor's property, but it will also impact the adjacent property.
I just want to chime in a little bit. So the rules of the way that the state set up the rules for the stormwater are that there's a pre-development flow rate to that area. And what they have to do is, for the various design storms, is reduce that pre-design flow rate. That's all they have to do technically by the stormwater standards. If you go back, even before the pond that's on Bischoff now, there's historical aerials where you can see that there was definitely flow through there before. It's always been wet. It does go through another
Right,
property.
so if we can
and
dry
when
it out,
Well, I don't think that that's their job to dry up somebody else's property. I'm just,
Yeah, I
the-
understand.
But I don't think we
It's
need
a little
to-
bit of a gray area there.
I
but-
don't think we need to add to the neighbor's property. I know that I would be upset if you added to my property.
But he's not adding, what he's
The
stating
flow
is
rates are reduced.
he's reducing.
Huh?
It'll be a net reduction. So
And-
right now, there's a certain amount of water that goes in there, it's gonna be less. But
And
it's still directed in that.
Yeah, and so I walked around down by Stop and Shop. I walked around down at the outlet of this because I wanted to get a better feel for it. And yeah, it is wet. Of course it's wet. And it's clearly been wet for a long time too. And when you get down to the Stop and Shop, what Stop and Shop did was they put a big berm along their entire parking lot. And there's a swale that runs right through there. And clearly it gets moving because there's siltation in it. And you can tell that there's actually velocity in there at times. And then that gets picked up by a piping system and goes into the Stop and Shop pond. Stop and Shop has a big pond back beside the back of their retaining wall there. And then that eventually goes into the Fishkill Creek. So in some theories, if we were just to say that they have to send everything to the DOT right away, they would have to so significantly reduce that to meet the pre-development, pre-development rates of flow along there that it probably wouldn't be feasible. Other than that, they would also have to potentially, increase the size of people's culverts along the roadside swale and everything else too.
All right, well,
And then it gets down to the Fishkill Creek much faster. So there's there's different ways of
You
looking
don't
at it.
necessarily want to alter hydrology. If there
Yeah.
is a wetland there in the back, and then we don't want to dry up the water to the wetland.
There could be
But-
some ecology
But
associated
what I was
with that.
going
That
at,
is true.
what I'm concerned with is the neighbor came before us and said, the pond, as it's constructed now, is releasing a lot of water that's flooding his property. And we're characterizing it in two different things. You're saying, well, there's water that goes behind their property in a swale and goes back, and he's characterizing it as that pond is flooding my property, and I think he might have even said his garage or his house. He may have said something to that effect. So I had asked you in past meetings, what are you doing to, mitigate that problem? Because the water's coming from your pond, he's alleging. Now, that's what he's saying. He's alleging that it's coming from your pond, and it didn't happen before the pond was built. Once the pond was built, that's when his property, I'm just reciting what he had said to
Yeah.
us. So I understand everything you're saying. He's lower, you're not altering the hydrology, you're sending the water into the same place in the same area, you're redirecting it actually away. And it's supposed to go into a wetland that's back there, or a swale or wetland. So I'll go back to my original question is, how are we fixing the problem of the pond flooding his property? Or do you disagree with that assertion?
Well, it's when they say flood, it's not, does he have 10 feet of water in his basement type of thing, or is it just soggy? It's hard to quantify and.
Is a soggy basement a good basement?
No, but if you're in a high groundwater area, you could have a basement that's always wet.
I understand it. Let me just one question. Craig, if the planning board approves, let's just say we go through and it goes as is, and then the situation happens where the property floods past the point where it's something this board approved, who does that fall back on when that neighbor
comes back and complains about it. I mean, if we approved it,
As long as you took a hard look at all the environmental issues and, you considered those, it doesn't fall back on anybody. It wouldn't fall back on this board. This is a totally discretionary act. Pretty much everything you do is a discretionary act.
Yeah.
Craig, hasn't there been some suits in the past against the town for where highway has redirected water onto personal property? I realize it's got to go someplace.
In this case, this is a state highway. This property is on a state highway, so DOT is weighing in as to, water flow and the retention pond that abuts Route 55. So I don't understand your question, I'm sorry.
All right.
Well, we have to rely on the engineers to review this. I'm not an engineer. But I mean, even at that, the soils there are clay. I mean, that's part of the big problem there is the condition of the soil, not only on that property, but going east is all clay on both sides, right?
Yeah, which is why he has
Yeah.
sort of a continuous flow that goes out as opposed to the water then receding into the ground.
Right. Is there any way we can get the water to penetrate into the ground more? I know that's,
Well, I think part of the issue, there's also a high groundwater table, at least, I can't tell you specifically at that exact spot without digging up his yard, like what's exactly
Well,
there.
if you go a little
exactly
further down towards the
happening.
station, and as soon as there's heavy rain and everything, that entire lawn is underwater.
Right.
You're right about that.
on the right side.
Yep.
But at least, again,
Cumberland
for here,
Farms.
it's the high groundwater.
Yeah, it
So
won't matter
I
if-
can only put so much
No,
water
if
in.
you try to go down into a fissure, you're not gonna get anything.
So, I mean, let me ask you one question.
Sure.
Are you increasing runoff post-construction?
No.
So,
Flow rates based on our modeling. And if there's any more tweaking, we'll go back and forth with Dan. But as of what I submitted to him, that we're showing that all the post discharges from these outlets is less than it is currently.
okay. So, I mean, that's up for our town engineer to
Right.
confirm that he's not increasing. And that's what the going back and forth with the calculations and stuff. So to me, it's really just about the conveyance. And I think why we're having a hard time is because
No.
there's a change. We thought it was getting neatly handled and placed over here, and it looked to us on your drawing that you were conveying it to the swale next to 55, which seemingly solved our problem with the neighbor. Today, you're coming back with this other pipe. I realize you're not increasing the flow. You're actually reducing the amount of water. But the perception is that it's directed at his property, and, that's what we're concerned about, is the neighbor's property. So, but...
I'm still trying to get as much water as I can to the DOT and address the concerns with the modeling and just making sure that, the dots and the I's and the T's are all crossed with Dan and the modeling to make sure it's something to go back to and said we looked at it hard and make sure all storms are reduced at all points.
It's not a public hearing.
So.
Yeah, and if,
I mean, this is,
even
this is still subject as I can work with Dan to slight change. I'm just trying to give you an update today. We're not trying to pull a fast one on anyone or anything like that.
Yeah, no, and this was something that kind of came up a little bit more recently. When we were looking at the Part 2 EAF, I was going through some of the stormwater impacts and trying to get a better handle for those impacts, and that's when I recognized that the pipe was, sending everything towards 55, and where the existing pipe was discharging. So that's when I decided to make the site visit, and that's when I realized that the the predominant pattern is that the water goes back behind this house.
Yeah.
Now, I'm looking at the 2004 infrared aerial photograph of it right now. This is before the pond that's on Bischoff now was there, and I can clearly see that there's water running in behind there.
Yeah,
So it was there.
yeah.
When the people that put this pond, that's been there for, I don't know, probably a good 20-plus years, or 20 years or so now. I guess it was between 4 and 9.
Somewhere,
Somewhere
I
in
saw
between there.
06, I think I saw it right around.
06?
I think that's about,
Well, Salo put that pond in.
So it's nearly 20 years of that pond being there now, but that pond, obviously, the way that they set it up was, okay, well, this is where the water is cutting through our site now, and that's where they directed their pipe to,
Oh.
which makes sense, you know,
Yeah.
to that extent. So,
I mean,
I can't speak for,
yeah.
you know, the conditions of the wetness of the house before that pond, after that pond, you know, but I do know that the way that the regulations are written is as long as they are, you know, reducing the pre versus post flow rates, that's an entitlement of and part of land development.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know,
Yeah.
you live downhill.
Yeah.
Sometimes this happens, and I don't want to sound coy or that I
No,
don't,
not at all.
that I don't,
Listen,
you know,
if a
feel for somebody who's having a drainage issue at their house, but, and I've even, you know, would venture to say that Mr. Salas should talk to him and see if there's anything that, you know, might be helpful to him, and maybe they can have a conversation about it offline,
Yeah,
about things that they can do to maybe try to help his situation while still allowing Mr. Sala to have the development rights of his own property.
Has that pond been dredged? Is it maintained? I mean, is it full of silt? I haven't looked at it, to be
I don't
honest
think it's
with you.
maintained
I
very
don't
well.
So
think
if
it's-
it's maintained, will that mitigate some of the water's issue?
It's gonna be, what, double in size or more?
for this one, yes, a
You know,
little bit
they're
more
gonna
so.
make it
than-
much bigger.
Right, right. Well, that might
So-
help if it's maintained.
It will have to be maintained because there's gonna be stormwater maintenance and easement
Right.
agreements, and if they're failing to meet that obligation, then the town can step in. That's how that's gonna be set up.
all right. Well, I mean, Dan, that was a great explanation, and if what you're asserting is that there was an original hydrology, there was a drainage that went in that direction, even prior to Sala building the pond, then he built the pond, and he sent drainage in that direction, and so that didn't change the hydrology. And then now you're building a bigger pond, and you're maintaining some of that drainage, although a little less. Then, to me, you haven't altered the course of the drainage, you've made it a little less, so
I'm hoping a
satisfied.
lot less.
Yeah, and I mean, I think
I'm-
that they're doing what they can to continue to maintain some flow to the 55 as well, but the DOT is gonna have a say on that as well. You know, so
Yeah.
that's obviously,
I mean,
in terms of
I
the
think the
seeker
problem
analysis,
is
it's-
when there's a flood event, when there's big events, and maybe that drainage way behind his house gets saturated, and so maybe there's a floodplain back there, I don't know.
Well, you know, there's not a floodplain shown on the maps from FEMA, but there is certainly, you know, it's downhill, it's clayey soils. You know, Faye had mentioned about if there's a way to get more in the ground. When other Brian from his office went out there, they did some test pits, and, you know, he showed me some pictures. It was, you know, it's very tight soil.
Yeah.
And some of this site had been stripped in the past, too.
Right,
Some of you may remember that.
I do.
So, you know, some of that soil that, who knows how long ago that was done. I actually don't know that, Faye, but
There were a lot of trees removed, and that may have, that may have affected the water flow and all that. I mean, all the trees were stripped. It was a very wooded site, not an old growth, but a wooded site that would have held a lot of the water
No,
back.
correct, yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt.
And now, you know, that may change when they control the water a little bit.
All right. Well, I mean, I agree with what your recommendation is. I think the owner should speak with the neighbor to see if there's anything they can do to help that situation. But I don't think we have authority to change New York state law to prevent him from Yeah.
Right, and it's, again, in terms of the seeker part of this whole thing, it's a determination if they can reasonably be expected to mitigate as much as they have to and as much as they can.
Yeah.
So from a seeker perspective, it doesn't have to be completely, 100% solved right now.
All right. I'm satisfied. Does anybody else want to discuss that any further?
No.
Okay.
I also, quick note, I did, as part of the public hearing, I did remember to finally change the labeling there from those courts, that we will do some kind of pollinator-friendly plantings there and a garden on the other side. I think I showed up here twice without changing it. I finally remembered.
You remember, right?
Died.
That's good.
He's in the audience. No, he's not. Oh, there he is. They're on the plans
How is
now.
the pond going to behave? Is that like a stormwater wetland pond?
No, that's just an open pond just to attenuate flows. It doesn't necessarily intend to provide any water quality function. That's all done in the bioretention area. We have trees planted in the parking lot, like tree pit.
Right, but you're
type
not going
items.
to prevent ducks from going in there, right?
No, the ducks
If
can
a
get
duck
in.
wants to land in there.
No, it's
We're
open.
not-
The only,
Okay.
we're gonna have a fence on top and some heavy landscaping around it.
Well, there you go.
He had a professional landscaper come up with a plan to plan all that. We're gonna have a fence to make sure no one can get into it and no unauthorized
Good.
access or any unsafe things. And because it's it's raised, you're not necessarily gonna be able to see the water that's in there.
Okay, what else do we need to go over with
Well, I think that was just one of the big issues that I thought should be discussed a bit before the seeker discussion was taking place, because of a potential that there was a change, like you said, that there was a change from what you had seen previously and the reasoning behind it,
Yeah.
you know.
All right. So basically, you're just updating us tonight, or you're looking for some action tonight?
I mean, if there's any action you can do, but at minimum, I wanted to
Where do we
give you
stand?
guys an update.
Yeah, what we had done is we had provided a Part 2 EAF, if you wanted to, consider the EAF, the seeker. It's a relatively in-depth thing that it's 10 pages or so of those questions. We've gone through them before. I mean, the board is charged with taking a hard look at all the environmental impacts.
But we're still waiting to hear about the traffic impacts, right? Because there's,
Is this premature? I wouldn't say it's necessarily premature. It's, there's always going to be some questions remaining. And again, it's if you can take a reasonable expectation that things are going to be mitigated. They've done a lot of work to mitigate a lot of the issues already. We don't have a final approval or anything from the DOT. They're not going to issue that until they're seeker. You're the lead agency for seeker. It's a
Chicken
cart
and
and
the
a horse
chicken
type
and the
thing in a
egg,
way.
You can always reopen the seeker at any point.
if he makes a change, sure.
I think the big DOT lift during the course of development of this project was whether or not the left turn lane was going to be needed, required, or installed. And it's settled with DOT that it's going to be installed. It's one of the first things they're going to make us do. The specific, so that the consultant's going to work on the specific details, this item number, that item number, can you have 2 feet here, or can there be this curb radius there, this concrete mix.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've been meeting with you for probably 2 years now, I think. We started this discussion with double the amount of units, I think.
Yes.
And you reduced the units, partly, I guess, based on our comments, partly
I
based
think
on...
we had 6 buildings.
Yeah.
Originally, it was tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 90-something units.
Yeah, I mean, we had expressed concern about it, but I think you also had some limitations with your water and sewer that also dictated the reduction.
Yes.
But, I mean, to be fair to you guys, you did make a lot of changes over the course of 2 years. You did a lot of landscape improvements, you did a lot of architectural improvements, you modified some of the amenities on the site, and you entertained a lot of our questions regarding traffic and stormwater. So, yeah, I guess I'm saying I would be ready to move on the seeker tonight. Would that be helpful?
Number of units?
What are we-
48.
48.
48.
Huh?
48 units, 24 in each building.
Right, all right, so it's what, 2 buildings?
Yes.
Okay, and there will be no further expansion on that lot?
No. There's no space.
And
At
if
all.
it's-
There's no space at all, even if we wanted to.
Okay,
So one of the things, at the October meeting, the public hearing was closed. If you recall, they waived the shot clock
right.
so that you could take a good hard look and didn't have to be pressured into the 62-day limit to make the decision, so that you had to make a preliminary approval decision as well. That's within our code. So that said, at minimum, I think it would make sense to run through some of the Part 2 items, particularly the ones that might be considered to be moderate to large impacts. If there's information you feel like you still need, you can ask them for it and let them get back to us. You don't have to necessarily do your secret determination today, but at least you can get on track with taking that first step of the hard look, and then again, direct him if you need more information, or if you need information from me that we need to do, we'd be happy to do that. So we did take a stab at Part 2, circulated that around for your use, and also provide you with some links to the DEC's webpage, because there's a lot of really, really good information on how to answer these, because it's very subjective, and it's very specific to every single site. So that's where I think you could be. It's up to you guys, obviously, how you want to proceed with it. So my advice would be to at least take a look at the Part 2 right now, and if you have questions, we can raise them and see if we can get them answered appropriately so that you feel comfortable.
All right, well,
Was there any change from what you sent us earlier?
No, I didn't change anything after I sent it to you.
Okay. I had no questions after you reviewing what you had sent to us.
I mean, I could walk us through this, or unless you want to just,
I don't think we need to walk through it.
That's what I was mentioning, we had some moderate to large impacts that were identified.
Right.
And as I mentioned, when the applicant has taken steps to provide mitigation for that can be explained in the decision.
I mean, right off the bat, I see a couple of things. On impact on land, the proposed action may involve construction on land where depth to water table is less than 2 feet. Don't we exceed the threshold on that? Isn't it? What's the depth to water table?
I want to say in certain areas it was a little over 2 feet, right around 2. I'd have to go back and look specifically off the top of my head.
I don't know if Brian put the test pit information on the plans, did he?
It might be in the SWIP on a separate plan. It might not be on the actual site plan set plan.
So,
Maybe you can provide those test pit logs and see if was there groundwater when they were done.
Logs and SWIP. That's not a problem.
Because normally we would kind of look at the web soil survey and see what the,
yeah, right,
but this has also been stripped in the past too. So it's
yeah.
not necessarily accurate anymore.
Hmm.
They do have
Well, and plus-
actual data of when
Yeah.
they did some test pits out there
Yeah,
that they can
let's-
share with us.
Right, right. And you've been telling us that the water table is high, so if the water table is high, wouldn't that be a moderate to large impact? And shouldn't that be explained if we exceed that threshold?
I'll get the specific test pit numbers now. Most of the site is fill. we are filling this all. We're not actually, we're not trying to dig excessively into the water table all with structures. We will be using, there's no hazardous materials on site or anything of that nature that would seep into the groundwater in that area.
Sounds like a good explanation for the seeker. I mean, it's okay that you exceed a standard. It's as long as you're mitigating for that. You're describing in the seeker why it's not an impact, or why it's, how you mitigate that impact. So, also, I mean, the second one is proposed action may involve construction on slopes 15% or greater, isn't it? Aren't we hitting 15% or greater in the back part of the lot?
We are on the existing soils. We're minimizing it, we're putting in a retaining wall so we can minimize the cut into the hill again.
Yeah.
If we didn't have the retaining wall, we would have to probably still putting a retaining wall, but go all the way up to the back. So we're trying to minimize that to the extent that we can.
Yeah.
And that's part of why we have fill, is so that we can hit as high as we can,
Great.
as fast as we can.
So that's a acceptable rationale to me, but I think it needs to be explained in the seeker.
That's 1B.
Yeah. Proposed action continuing. Is it multiple phases? Are you building this in multiple phases? You're going to build it all at once?
I believe he's going to build this all at once. The construction order is going to be basically DOT, road, infrastructure. Then the last items will probably be the actual buildings and parking.
Okay. Just bear with me for a second. I'm just going to quickly read through this. 3B. The proposed action may result in an increase or decrease of over 10% or more than a 10-acre increase or decrease in the surface area of a water body. So we have a water body out there. Okay. So,
Yeah, and I didn't, from what I was reading with the DEC, it didn't, I believe it didn't matter if it was a man-made or not. So there is a body of water there right now, that pond, that's being increased in size. So that's why I chose to offer that it could be considered moderate to large there.
so what's the concern, by the way, if we're increasing the water body? The potential for flooding downstream, or?
I think it has to do with whether or not there's any impacts to the ecology of it. If there's any value in terms of flora and fauna.
So how would you explain that in the seeker?
It's a relatively newer pond. It's not natural. It's man-made. And the growth all around it is relatively new in the scheme of things, if you will. There's nothing newer than 20 years at its oldest.
Mostly
And
just weeds?
And every time it rains, we have constant water moving out of there. It's not really there might be a couple tadpoles, but there's not exactly
I don't think
fish or
there's
anything
fish
like
or
that.
anything like
Any
that
kind
there.
of,
And you're going to reestablish a diversity of plantings around it?
and the landscaping plan around the berm, the banks, and everything, there will be plantings.
All right, so I mean, I don't think I'm ready to vote on this tonight, but if these things need to be explained, is that explained in part 3?
We didn't prepare part 3 because you got to kind of identify the moderate to large that you want before you can explain the part 3. So if we can do the moderate to large ones that you see now, then we could even ask the applicant to provide some of that rationale
Yeah.
for us to consider and maybe incorporate into part 3.
Yeah, plus I would consider 1A and 1B moderate to large.
Yep, I have that marked here.
Great,
And then 3B we just talked about.
yeah.
So 3H was something that I suggested could be considered moderate to large as well.
I agree.
You know, one of the things with the discussion we had before is that the water and the path that it takes now kind of meanders through, and even though the soils are pretty poor, there might be some bit of groundwater recharge there. It gets over to the pond, it's further attenuated behind the Stop and Shop pond. So if you kind of look at the thought of that path as it meanders down and then goes into another pond before it discharges to the Fishkill Creek, versus if you just send it all into an asphalt paved swale, it's gonna make it down to the Fishkill Creek in a couple of minutes versus all that time that it's flowing through. And it'll also have a better chance to have settling because it's gonna be going through another pond as well. So, just some thoughts that could be incorporated in there with regard to siltation and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I would add that you're going to do erosion control measures, but are you thinking that this is more long-term? Or that the proposed action may cause soil erosion or otherwise create source of stormwater discharge that may lead to siltation or other degradation of receiving water bodies? I see that that's a potential for the construction doing that. So
True.
I would respond in there that you do have plans for, I saw the plans with all the soil erosion measures, so you need to describe that in part 3. But all right. I think there's another one here. Proposed action may affect the water quality of any water bodies within, no, the proposed action, oh, what about K? Proposed action may require the construction of new or expansion of existing wastewater treatment facilities. Isn't that yes?
I believe we are allocated already 10,000 gallons within the existing facilities.
There happens to be, the Water Wastewater Authority happens to be upgrading that plant right now anyway. That's their plans for that, but it's not a result of this project. This project was allotted a certain amount already.
I mean, while you're making, to me, it doesn't hurt to opine and, just add the text that the project is tapping into an existing wastewater treatment facility, which is currently under expansion. And, if you wanted to indicate that there was sufficient capacity to handle this development, that's fine. But, these are meant to protect us, We're meant to look at this and say, all right, you're tapping into the wastewater, they got enough there? And then if it ever comes to a court of law, we have the document that says, yeah, we thought about this. And look at part 3, that's where we explained it. All right, impact to groundwater. So 4A, you indicate the proposed action may require new water supply wells or create additional demand on supply. See that? Why did you hit moderate to large on that? Is this, are we getting our water supply from Public Water Service?
Yeah, so there's, it's through the Dalton Farms water. And so there is an additional demand of about that, what was it? It was almost 10,000 gallons a day.
Oh, okay.
Is the demand.
All right, so
of the
same as
project.
what I was just talking about for the wastewater.
Right.
All right, that's fine, I agree with that. Water supply demand from proposing exceeds safe and sustainable. All right. So there's no floodway, there's no floodplain in vicinity of the project site?
Not till you get down to the Fishkill Creek.
Yeah, but these questions are, is the development within a floodplain? So
Right,
So that's why we answered no, because it's not.
right.
Okay. Impact to air. Actually may generate to... No, that's fine. Impact to plants. So you hit on 7A, the proposed action may cause reduction in population or loss of individuals of any threatened or endangered species as listed by New York State or federal government. So what triggered this? Was there the bat, the Indiana bat?
Yeah, that was. And, I think that the justification can be also that they were, doing any of the clearing of trees would be during the clearing period when the bats are in hibernation. And in some ways, if you recall, they have a really robust landscaping plan, and they may actually be creating a little more habitat for the bats.
Yeah, I agree. It's not great habitat now. There's really not a lot of trees there.
It's very,
And they're
very
just cedars.
young
Yeah.
growth right now, not a
Yeah.
lot of mature trees
Yeah.
that are coming down.
Was there
anyway.
any other species that got kicked up when you did your, the resource mapper?
To be honest, off the top of my head, I don't recall. We had threatened endangered species study was done and submitted. I want to say there was one other species.
It's the northern long-eared bat.
It was just the
Which
bat?
is the same
Same mitigation.
treatments as the Indiana bat.
Yeah.
All right. No to ag resources. Impact on aesthetic. Yeah, I think you're pretty much hitting all the right ones. Proposed action may be visible from any official designated federal, state, or local scenic. So which one did this, is this on our local scenic roads?
That one is related to the Appalachian Trail, I believe. Let me see, which one are you on right now? The
9A.
A? Yeah, that's a designated aesthetic resource, is the Appalachian Trail.
But that's not anywhere near there, is it?
No.
I think when you're up there, I don't know what you can see from certain parts of it, but when you're up on the Appalachian Trail, you can see the dome over in Marlboro. So you're up high looking down. So I think that's why.
All right, so just please respond to that one. Impact on historic and archaeological resources. Whose action may occur wholly or partially within, substantially contiguous to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites. Did you do a Phase 1A for this?
We went through Chris and got a letter of
No, no impact?
no impact.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
So why did it kick
Let
in?
me see why E3F from Part 1. So initially, it was just that it was a potentially sensitive area for archaeology, and that's why I think I checked it.
Yeah.
But then they have a report and a letter of no impact from the state on that. So that would probably just be the mitigation or
Yeah.
the justification. So that's why I think I just,
Yeah, just, I guess, indicate that. Impact on open space
I
and
think the
recreation.
one we didn't go through was 9D. Could you?
Situation.
So this is more of the impact visually for
Like people
While it's
driving
on
people
by.
driving by, actually. It's,
While it's under construction or forever?
I would suggest that it's both,
Okay.
but obviously, I think this is a plan that is bringing the buildings up front, which is what the town center wants. So
Right.
it's a little bit of a potential shock for people as they're
Yeah.
driving by, because it's a new concept of where the town comprehensive plan wanted to go. So I figured that there's not necessarily any multifamily buildings like this in that corridor.
Yeah.
And
Not
that's
yet.
why it's an impact to people as they're driving by. It's kind of like, hey, there's something new here. This is, you know.
I agree. I think you're right to have brought that up.
But then, again,
How do we justify
the
that?
idea that it's in our comprehensive plan, that this is how the town wanted the development to go
Right.
forward is part of the justification for it. But I think it is a potentially, moderate to potentially large impact because of that.
Yep, I agree. Anybody, any other comments?
No, I agree. It's in keeping with the town center design standards.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you're picking up on these. That's great. And so that'll be explained.
Well, that would mitigate against it being a moderate to large impact if it's consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Which it is.
But, I mean, yeah, I agree, but it's going to be explained in part 3 then.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, anything that gets checked moderate to large has to be explained in part 3.
There are similar projects visible within the following distance of the proposed project. Are there? This one shouldn't be hit moderate, because there are similar projects visible within the following distance
Not yet,
of the proposed project.
no.
Why would you click on that one?
Which number are you on? I'm sorry.
9F. You show there. Did this populate on its own, or because of part 1 or
it's
something?
not, No.
All right. I don't see how there's similar projects visible in the following distance. 5 miles?
I think
Maybe
that was
within
the
5
one
miles.
where you're saying that it's a relatively moderate to large potential impact because there are none within that area, within those radiuses.
That's how you're reading it?
I think,
It just
I
says
think,
there are similar projects visible. I would take that as if it's not visible, then it's not applicable, no?
No, because there isn't currently any projects of this nature.
I mean, I think they, under your rationale, Dan, I think they would have written it, there are no similar projects within the following distance. And that would have been like a negative, right?
Right.
So, but that's a weird question.
It is a weird one.
I don't feel compelled to mark it as a
I
moderate.
think the way it's written, you can conclude if there are similar projects that this project would fit in with the rest.
Yeah, and the fact that there isn't
Yeah.
means that it's an impact because it's going to be like an eyesore.
that's how I looked at
That's
it,
the way
yeah.
I interpret it as well.
Very strange.
But again, that could also be a
Oh, I
reference
see
to the
how- yeah.
comprehensive plan.
When you look at it
Yeah.
that way,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
See it.
I mean, I think you're
see
being
it now.
conservative on your approach. It could have
I think
gone either way.
We've had these discussions before, and I know that that's a way that you've always looked at the seeker.
If it exceeds the threshold, you have to hit the moderate to large.
Right.
So, all right, so that's fine, then we just have to explain that it's consistent with the comprehensive plan.
Right.
Yep.
So 10B, we already did.
So
The proposed may result in destruction of a part of the
10C.
site or property.
What is that, E?
it's
10E?
If any, the above AD or answer moderate or large impact may occur, continue with the following questions. The
Right, so
proposed
since-
action may result in the alteration of the property's setting or integrity. That's true. Right now, it's currently open space, and it's going to be completely developed. Oh,
So it could be all 3 of these, you're saying, 1, 2,
Yeah.
and 3? 10E, 1, 2, and 3?
yeah. The proposed action may result in the introduction of visual elements which are out of character. I mean, currently it's an open space property. Now it's going to be a high intensive use. It's going to be a multi-family. So I think it does exceed the threshold for all three of those, but we've designated this in our master plan as the location for development, for mixed-use development. And so it's consistent with our master plan, and so that's how it's got to be explained. Okay. Impact on critical environmental areas, nope. Impact on transportation. Projected traffic increase may exceed capacity of existing road network. So you reviewed all these and you don't think any one of them apply?
No, I didn't think that any of the thresholds were exceeded that would kick in the moderate to large on here. They've made good progress with the DOT. I think DOT would have mentioned that as well. And I think there was a traffic impact study done a long time ago,
Yeah.
actually.
I brought it up as a concern.
And
I thought it was going to be a concern, but they did a traffic study and apparently it's not going to affect.
I think that
The impact.
one of the analysis points was the Beekman Road 55 Clove area, which is, not a great intersection right now. But the level of service there was already poor, and I don't think that the level of service at that intersection changed as a result of this.
Okay.
But, Brian, I did send you an email. I don't remember if you responded to it, but there was a number of supporting documents that we referenced in the Part 3. So I just want to make sure we had the absolute latest of any of those supporting docs. So just on a side note, if you remember to hit me
Yes,
with that. when you can.
I'll double check. I replied with, there's a link into it because it wouldn't all fit in emails.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
want to send you
Perfect.
35 emails with.
Appreciate that. So if I'll take a look at that latest traffic impact study then again, and there's a potential that I would take a look at.
All right. Yeah.
Number 13.
No, I
impact
mean,
on
I-
transportation again.
I can see why you hit no, so that's fine. Moving down to 15, impact on noise, odor, and light. Proposed action may produce sound above noise levels established by local regulation. Typically, I hit that as moderate to high because during construction, it tends to get louder. And then, but you're going to work within, are you going to work within the proper work hours for the town? Does the town set hours in their code that you can't work with beyond?
No, there's a noise ordinance, but
There is a noise ordinance.
that's hard to enforce.
Yeah.
Well,
I always
Yeah, I
explain it
suppose
out
it is.
as it's a temporary, and once it's constructed, then it's no longer an impact.
yep, okay, got it.
Impact on human health, no. Consistency with community plan. Differ, sorry, proposed action cause a permit. Yeah, so it's not inconsistent. Consistent with community character, you hit yes. Proposed project is inconsistent with existing community character. 18E, the proposed action is inconsistent with the predominant architectural scale and character. And that's kind of true.
That's
You're going
right.
like 2.5 stories high. That's not, there's really nothing else on that road that does that, so.
But again, that might be a reference back to the comp plan.
Yeah.
Where the comp plan actually allows for 3-story and they're doing 2.
Yeah.
So there's also that component to it.
All right, I'd be satisfied if you just addressed those in part 3. And then,
You did a great job on this.
oh, thank you. My mom always told me I was good.
Yeah, I know.
Brian, I can share those with you and then my notes from this too, and
We
then,
can hit, I took
I
some
used to
notes
write
too. We
these
can go
things.
back and forth, make sure
Years
we're
ago.
yeah,
doing right by everybody. Be well.
sounds good.
Yeah, so we're not going to vote on it. We'll have to wait for number
No, but
3,
you can
part
make,
3.
you can make a motion to instruct the applicant and his engineer to address the Part 2 responses that Dan's going to be sending over to Brian.
Okay, I'll make a motion that the applicant need address Part 2 and as was discussed, that they need to explain and provide rationale and justification in Part 3 for those responses that were responded to moderate or large impact.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, is that it? Is there anything else we need to consider tonight?
That's all we can
No, I don't think there's anything else we can.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you much. I appreciate
you.
the board's effort on this.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right.
That's not a hard look, and I don't know what it is.
That was a good job. A lot got done.
All right,
That's not
let's,
good. We got 20 minutes.
yeah, let's step it up.
Necessary.
All right, so next on the agenda is Hickson accessory apartment. Geez, we still have a quorum, so.
Yeah, I gotta be in the city.
No problem.
Leave now. Leave now.
Yeah, I'll stay.
All right, you can go ahead and tell us your name.
Sure.
Why you're here?
Joseph DeMarco from Whalen Architecture, here on behalf of the applicant. So we originally were in front of the board, it was June of 2024 for the first time. So basically, the applicant has an existing house with an existing apartment in what used to be the garage of the house, which is, that's how they purchased it back in, I think, '96. So basically now they're just going to, or would like to try and get it approved as a legal accessory apartment. We did end up going through and getting a newly designed septic system. And with that, we got some additional comments earlier today from Dan. So I don't know if you want me to just kind of go through some of those comments.
Sure, please do.
So really the ones that are kind of still pressing would be comment 2A regarding the first floor square footage. There was a discrepancy on the plan in the calculations that was saying that the square footage of the first floor was 1466 square feet, which it should be the 1406 as listed on the actual plan. So with that, that would be, the apartment would be the 21.3% of the existing residence.
Which is still well within the range. In either
Yeah.
case, it was going to be compliant, so.
Yeah,
But I just wanted to correct the record on that.
Yep. Comment number 4A, regarding the missing columns for the lot conformance table. We can be happy to add those to the chart. Comment 4B regarding the setbacks for the garage. We'll add those to the zoning chart as well. The dimensions for the existing garage, we can add those to the site plan. Comment number 7.
Yeah, are you talking about number 5 there? That was more just to recognize that there might be some non-conformities with the garage as it exists.
Right.
To today's code, but
Yep.
it was granted a certificate of occupancy in 1990. I verified that with the building department, so.
Okay.
But it's just a matter of just showing it and
Yep.
labeling it potentially as existing non-conforming.
Okay. So that was comment 5. Comment number 7, regarding the proof of ownership, we can coordinate with the applicant to submit that info. Comment number 9, regarding the special use permit and site plan approval blocks.
Oh, I had a question about the deed.
Okay.
think I noted that the deed showed that it was in the name of the husband and wife,
Yep,
and George is the husband.
yes,
And the application is only in the name of Letitia, who's the wife.
right.
So if there has been a change due to death or something, if you can note that.
Okay, or if not, just have them both on there?
Right.
Okay. So comment number 9 was regarding the special use permit and the site plan approval block. We'll make sure those are on the correct sheets.
It's a maximum accessory.
And then comment 10 for the owner's consent. We'll make sure that's on all of the sheets that we submit.
Yes, and if Mr. Hickson is still alive, you just add him
Yep.
for the owner's consent.
Yep. As far as comments, I think that's all the new ones that we had received.
All right.
Yeah, and these are all really not any showstoppers necessarily. So we had suggested that you could consider setting a public hearing date as the next step procedurally for this. We had also mentioned in there about number 6 was going through the aquifer standards, but a lot of times we'll kind of wait until after the public hearing, so that'll just be a comment that stays on there until you go through them. Again, I wouldn't expect there'd be a lot of impacts to the aquifer for adding an accessory apartment in an existing house.
Does the accessory apartment meet all the standards?
Yes. Yeah.
Does he require to go to the zoning board for anything?
That's
Nope.
what I asked him, I just.
Oh, you just did? I'm
I
sorry.
didn't. No, it's okay, you didn't hear it. I whispered.
All right.
No, the one thing that, and the reason I mentioned the garage was because the garage was granted a certificate of occupancy in 1990. If you look at the garage now, it doesn't meet today's code necessarily because it's in front of the house. The scale of the accessory structure compared to the existing primary structure, the fact that it's within the front yard setback. So there's a few things that it doesn't conform to today's code, but when it was done in 1990, it was granted a C of O. So it's there, it's existing non-conforming.
I think that requirement for the garage in front of that, not being in front of the house was after that time.
I think it came in with
It
the
did.
2010
It did.
code revisions.
And now the number of bedrooms, did that increase beyond what's accepted for the septic system?
So they got a septic system.
They got a new
approval.
septic system. put
Okay.
in for
Did you have to
4-bedroom.
expand it?
What's that?
Did you have to expand the existing septic?
Yeah, I believe the existing septic was sized for a 3-bedroom, and then now it's sized for a 4-bedroom.
So does that still have to be constructed, or that's already been constructed?
I don't think it's been put in yet. I think it's,
Okay,
the plan has been approved
yeah,
from the Department of Health,
I see.
so, but I don't think it's been put in yet.
All right, so does any of the board members want to, do you want to review the site plan at all, or do you have any questions, or do you want to ask the applicant?
No, it's good.
Okay. All right, so I think is there sufficient amount of information to set the public hearing at this point?
I believe so.
All right. Can I get a motion to set the public hearing for next month?
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing for December
It'll be the 18th.
18th, 2025.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous?
Thank you.
Okay. I think we're good. We're going to progress with the project. Make sure you get all your notices out. That's got to be done
Okay.
very carefully, very completely, so that so that we could have your public hearing
Okay.
next month.
All right.
Yeah, you can work with Cheryl. She'll help make sure that you have the right list of
Have a good
folks. and-
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thanks, Jason. All right, cool.
Cheryl, when are you back? You're leaving.
Joe, do I have your email address? Can I have your email address?
myself.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is the woods at Hemlock Hollow. Good evening.
Good evening.
Go ahead and, yep, your name, why you're here.
Yeah, Matt Town from Willingham and Town Engineering. So 4-lot subdivision on Hemlock Hollow Road. It's in the R90 zoning district. I was here in October and got some comments and addressed a lot of them. There's a few remaining ones in Dan's letter from today. One of the biggest items is the tree survey, which we're getting ready to do, but we were requesting a waiver from doing the entire 10-acre site. We were hoping to do the limit of disturbance, which is defined in the plans, and then an additional 20 feet beyond that for any potential maneuvering, shifting that might need to be done to avoid disturbing some trees. So that was one of the main items that I was looking for at this meeting, and then potentially lead agency and seeker circulation.
All right, so if you could just go over the plan with us one more time, just to remind us.
Sure, yeah, so it's, I mean, these are the 4 lots. This is Hemlock Hollow Road here. Here are the driveways going back. Lots vary from 2 acres to about 2.8 acres. This is a rear lot, so we verified that the frontage could be 50 feet, which is what's allowed for a rear lot. That was a question that was brought up at the last meeting. So all the lots, they're all conforming. They meet all the setback requirements. These dark areas are steep slopes over 15%, so we're avoiding those as much as possible. We've done soil testing at the site. These septic systems have been designed. We've already had 1 round of comments from the health department. This shows the 50-foot road dedication that we're going to do for the town road.
Currently it's private?
No, it's a town road. There's just not a 50-foot right-of-way, so we're deeding so that there is, within 25 feet of the center line.
Okay. Are there any wetlands on site?
So there was 1 mapped in the Hudsonia NRI mapping. I've submitted a jurisdictional determination request with the DEC, still waiting on that. We did have a biologist go to the site, and he reviewed it, didn't find any wetlands. He wrote a letter that was included with the submittal. So that's where we're at right now. We'll provide the DEC response once we get that.
What's the zoning and how does the lot sizes relate to the zoning?
Yeah, so the zonings are 90, so that's 90.
With 2 acres?
90, yeah. Just over. The lots are all, it's all over here in the zoning committee. They're all larger. 2.56, 2.86. The rear is 2.08. That's excluding the flag portion, I guess to call it. So that's actually 2.41 acres in size, and then 2.09 for this front one.
I see. And you say you did soil tests? You did test pits for septic?
Yep.
And how did the soil look?
Yeah, there's a decent amount of silt, but I'm trying to remember. So, I mean, it was pretty good. It perked really well. There's like most of the systems need like 1 or 1.5 feet of fill because there was some groundwater when you got down to like 4 or 5 feet. And then there were a couple areas where there was bedrock where the slopes are steep over here.
All right, I have two more questions, and then I'll open it up to the board.
Sure.
Are there any water courses on the property?
Nope.
Okay. And the property is fully wooded right now? Is there any open areas?
It is wooded, it's mostly wooded, there's a couple structures on the site, and there's kind of cleared around there. The structure, like, it's an old shed and they called it a hut. I included photos in my submittal letter, but they're decrepit, they're gonna be removed. But there were some areas where there was grass around there, but it's mostly wooded throughout the entire site.
Rats, you say?
Grass?
Oh, I
Rats.
thought you said rats.
I thought that's
What
what
did
he
you
said.
think I said, rats?
I thought you were describing the wildlife.
Oh.
All right. You guys, you want to ask him any questions?
Ask questions, or do I get up?
Oh, you're the applicant?
No, I'm not, I'm a neighbor.
No.
Across the street.
I'm sorry, yeah. We'll have a public hearing, and you'll have the opportunity to speak at the public hearing.
No, there'll be a scheduled public hearing. You'll get a notification if you're a neighbor
Yeah.
in the mail.
So I should maybe write a letter before that, to request some.
I mean, can we allow public comment informally, or?
No.
No, but you can talk to the applicant's engineer after his presentation, maybe he can, give you some
I also have
insight.
some questions about the regulations of the town that I think may not be accurately presented, or maybe I'm inaccurate in my interpretation. So I don't know whether I can bring that up here, or how do I do that?
At the public hearing.
Well, if you have any questions about regulations of town, you can come into town hall and speak with our code enforcement officer, or if Dan's there, is that all right if I?
So I should schedule with you, Dan, then?
I'm normally here on Thursdays. Obviously,
Yeah, but I mean, the applicant's engineer is here tonight. I'd encourage you to talk if that's okay with you, to speak with him.
Comments on the record, if I could.
Yeah, so
That's
there will be a public hearing, so keep your eye open. If you're the neighbor, you'll be notified directly, okay?
We abut, we have
Yeah,
400 foot of frontage.
you'll get a certified letter.
You're gonna be notified, so, we're not at that stage yet, we're just in the beginning right now. We're on what's called a discussion, and then at some point, when we have enough information, we'll open this up to the public for a hearing. And you directly will be notified because you're a neighbor.
Okay, so the only way I can perhaps have some input in this before it gets too far down the road is by writing a letter?
I mean, you're welcome to write a letter at any point. We will not progress past preliminary plat approval until we have a hearing.
Okay.
So by the protocols of our code, we can't progress the project far until we have a public hearing.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm a bit
That's
naive on the
okay.
process.
Yeah.
We were told to come here and sign in, and then we would speak afterwards. But
Yeah.
apparently that's not the case, correct?
Well, I didn't know who you were here for, so I told you to sign in. That would have been for the public hearing, that was my public hearing,
We had a
which I
public.
didn't realize.
Yeah,
I'm
What you
allowed
were-
then what-
I didn't know that. I didn't know who you were here for.
yeah.
So I'm
yeah,
sorry for that.
Yeah, sorry if you,
The
yeah.
other thing is talk to the engineer.
Yeah, he'll talk to you.
Well, he wants to be on record, right? I mean, I'm guessing, Peter's right, talk to the engineer if you have any questions, but I know you want to put on record. And so that's why I'm telling you, tonight was not the night for this application, but there will be a night, and you will be notified. And so just be, available that.
My kids in California, hopefully they won't overlap over the Christmas season.
No, it's always the third Thursdays are meetings. So I don't know if it's going to be next month or the following month, but it'll be on a third Thursday.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Sorry I'm a little bit naive. with the
That's
process.
okay.
No, that's all right.
We all learn every day.
Yep. All right, so, where were we? Did you have any other questions?
No.
Did you guys have questions? Dan, do you want to go over any of your comments, or?
I don't think I necessarily need to go over any of the comments. You know, Matt did a pretty good job of addressing most of the things. There's a couple little things still out there, and one of them is actually still related to the trees. So he mentioned about the requests. He did ask formally in his cover letter for that waiver of locating every single tree on the site. They offered to do all of the tree locations for the 8-inch and above, because eventually our code gets from the 12-inch at the sketch phase to the 8-inch at the preliminary phase. So I always tell everybody, just do the 8 now, get it over with.
Yeah.
But he's asked for a waiver to do all those trees within his proposed limit of disturbance now, plus 20 feet. So everything 20 feet outside of that as well would be located, in case they have to do any changes as a result of what they might find with those trees. So that would be, the waivers requested would be for section 130-12H, which is the trees 12-inch and greater, and 130-20A as an atom 6. And that portion of that code, specific waiver to the trees 8 inches and greater. That section is a little more all-encompassing. It talks about water courses and other things that we wouldn't waive them from showing. So that waiver would be specific to the trees 8 inches and greater within that section of the code. So that's up to the planning board to determine if you'd like to entertain that waiver.
Well, first thing I want to say is, in light of the more recent developments we've had and troubles we've had with tree removals on developments, I just want to, my comment on your plan now is to try to limit the amount of tree removal as to the most limited needed tree removals. We do have a very active community that's very interested in preserving trees. I know you've been at a lot of our meetings, so you probably know that yourself, but you have steep slopes on the site. Removing trees near steep slopes doesn't mix well. It can cause potential for erosion and sedimentation. But in the end, I think it's about protecting biodiversity, protecting the environment, but also protecting the visual aesthetic resource of the site. So I understand you have a right to develop. I recognize that. But if we can develop it in a way that's least impactful to the environment, and that means cutting down as the minimal amount of trees. And especially I'll bring attention to trees that are adjacent to neighbors. Trees that are on the property line with the neighbors is a big concern for me. I would be willing to consider, my opinion is I'd be willing to consider a waiver for not having to locate all the trees on the site and to limit it to just the areas where you think the disturbance is going to occur, plus the 20 feet. I like that you added that. But I want to withhold, I want to reserve judgment later in the event that the plan changes, that we may ask you in the future to add certain areas of survey of trees if we feel like it's warranted. And that's how I feel about it. How do you guys feel about it?
No, I agree.
I'll agree with you, Rob. I'll make a motion to that effect, that we can grant the waiver as requested, with the caveat that we can address that issue again in the future.
In accordance with those sections that Dan?
Yeah.
I'll second. Discussion?
Oh, good.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes carried, unanimous. And
Matt, I would mention that, sorry, I got a frog here. There's a section of our code, it was brought in, it's actually under our new laws section on the E-code. You might know about this one, but it has to do with the timber harvesting and tree removal. So there's some sections of our code that are on E-code right now that have been removed and replaced with that section. And it talks to the amount of disturbed trees that can be taken out in relation to a structure or driveways or septic systems and all that. So it kind of limits the amount of trees, and we've been trying to get people to show that on the plans as well, realistically.
Okay, so what is it? I'll review.
I can get you that actual
harvesting.
section. I don't have it at
Okay.
my fingertips, but I can get it to you.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll take a look.
How, do you have any ideas on how you might be handling stormwater, or we're a little preliminary for that?
Well, so it's going to require a basic SWIP. Yeah, so I need to put that together still.
Okay.
But I wanted to get the tree survey done first in case there's anything that needs to be adjusted. Get far enough along with the septic system so I'm comfortable where they're going to be, and then I can develop the SWIP. So
Okay,
that's the plan.
great. So next step is they're going to come back with a sketch plan?
We had suggested that the seeker document that was provided, based on the action that's proposed, we believe it's an unlisted action. It doesn't meet any of the thresholds to be a type 1 action, and it's not specifically defined as a type 2 action, so that would normally make it an unlisted action. So we suggested that the board could deem the action unlisted and consider declaring intent to act as lead agency, and then we'd circulate to a number of interested and involved agencies, and I listed those, and Craig just also added in there Town of East Fishkill, care of the town clerk as well to that list. So it would be Beekman Town Board, Beekman Fire Advisory Board, Beekman Conservation Advisory Council, Beekman Highway Department, Town of East Fishkill, care of the town clerk, Town of East Fishkill Planning Board, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and Dutchess County Department of Behavioral and Community Health. Those were the interested and involved agencies that I had identified along with Craig, so.
But do we send them out now, or we wait for more details on the plans?
I think the plans are detailed enough for this portion to be able to circulate, and so is the EAF.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to declare us, the planning board, as lead agency, and to direct
Do subdivision.
the, is this gonna be multiple things, or we're gonna handle it in one shot?
You could deem it unlisted and declare your intent to act as lead agency, and which the planning department would be directed to send out the letter of intent to act as lead agency.
So moved.
Second. Oh, you got it, Peter.
Discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against? Okay, unanimous.
One more question, I know this might be out of order, but how do I get copies of the paperwork that currently resides with you folks?
You have to foil the town clerk.
Foiling, are you just gonna
Not
fill?
much time.
Foiling is just filling out a form, right?
Can I just
Yeah,
give him
it's
my copy?
pretty simple.
I guess you have a right to do whatever you'd like if you.
Here.
Should I come on?
Yeah, you can approach.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Sorry I confused you before.
It's 25, 50 cents a sheet, right?
Oh, no.
I don't think it's granted because he says I'm too Italian, because I said, come over and see where we live, I'll make you coffee, espresso, whatever, and I'll even play the recording.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Do you need a concert master? I have one.
All right, is there any other business? Are you done for, are you seeking anything else at this point?
I think I'm good, yeah.
All right,
My husband played it.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
He was in a classical orchestra, but I do have one.
Living across the street from Walmart, we have 400
lot line.
All right, so no, that's okay.
It's okay.
That's fine.
That's fine, that's fine.
That's fine.
You too.
Look out for that notice. Keep your eye out for the notice when it's the time for public.
Oh,
Yeah. All right, so the next item on the agenda is Schindler Potter Lot Line Realignment.
Hi, Amy Bombardieri with Day & Stokosa for the applicant, Mr. Schindler. This is for a lot line realignment for a transfer of .7 acres. Parcel 1 is the northern parcel owned by Mr. Schindler. Parcel 2 is, it will be a little over 13 acres when the transfer is complete. Parcel 1 will be a little over 10 acres. The proposed lot line provides the riding area to Parcel 1 from Parcel 2. There's no work proposed, no disturbance is proposed, with the exception of potentially removing the encroachments of the fence. There's nothing physically changing on the property. I got Mr. Kohler's letter today. I'm going to formally request a waiver for the topo and for the tree location on the basis that there's no disturbance proposed. There's an existing driveway that it is bifurcating in wetland, but no changes to the driveway are proposed. And the driveway accesses through Parcel 2, provides access to Parcel 1. There is a shared driveway agreement that's been submitted as part of the application package.
This is the Eddie Murphy property, right?
No, no.
Was.
On Hines Road, yeah? No.
No.
is this Hickman's?
You talking about, you
Hickman's.
talking about was it Harmony Hill?
I don't think it's Eddie Murphy's property.
Hickman, Hickman was there too. There were two of them there, Hickman and,
Because they came before us to a meeting, a couple of meetings ago, and that looked like a whole different application.
A couple meetings ago for what?
Sorry?
I'm trying to put together where it is.
It is on Hines Road. You're there.
It's adjacent to the Buddhist property?
The Buddhist property
It's the Buddhist has bought
is the Eddie
the
Murphy
old Eddie
property.
Murphy estate.
oh,
So
that's,
this is adjacent to that.
That was the Harmony Hill, right?
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, so
You're adjacent to,
You're not
She's-
far from Cliff's Works.
Swamp Road,
Yeah,
Well,
Hines Road.
That's the
Swamp
other
Road.
name for Hines Road, yeah.
the trailer park.
No, it's going the other way, I think. No?
Yeah, it's closer to Bulldog Concrete.
Right.
Which
right.
one?
Bulldog.
Yeah, okay, behind.
Bronson
Bulldog.
Road,
Yeah.
Bronson
Oh,
Road.
Gotcha.
It's actually directly touching the Clove Meadow subdivision,
I
which
think
wasn't
this-
on tonight, but
all right, so you're just adjusting the one line closer to the parcel 2. There's
Correct.
currently two parcels.
Correct.
You're just adjusting the line between the two of them.
Correct.
And there's not going to be any construction except you want to do some modification to a fence or remove a fence or?
The fence is encroaching on the adjacent parcel.
Oh,
No, no.
you can fix that.
Right here, it's a minor encroachment, so if that's required to be remedied, that would be done. Other than that, there's no proposed modifications. There was a question about the utility pole. That's owned by Con Edison.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're asking for a waiver to show trees because you're not doing any land disturbance
Correct, and topo.
and topo. Yeah. All right, Dan, you want to go through your comments? or-
yeah, I think, I've mentioned this before, but lot line realignments are treated as subdivisions, so I have to go through the code, and there's a whole list of all these things that we have to show on here, and sometimes it doesn't always seem very applicable to a lot line realignment, but in this case, these aren't lots that are going to be further developed. I think the one question I would have is, because we have to submit, we have to send everything to the fire advisory board. They may have comment about the driveway. And
Okay.
so there could be a potential for a disturbance there, and I think that's kind of where I don't know where we go here with this, but, there's state wetlands
Yeah.
that are gonna be encompassing whether it's the adjacent area or not, it's gonna be completely hitting that driveway. So, I don't know, I had mentioned about getting, some determination of the limits of the wetlands, which I don't know if that would influence the fire advisory board in any of the decision that they might have, my guess is that they're gonna look at this and say it's an extremely long driveway, every 500 feet, there should be an emergency vehicle pull-off and stuff like that, so whether or not that's something that could be considered. There's also, this one property was subject of a potential application before the board for site plan special use permit for the bunkhouse ranch. So we're looking for some sort of a letter from the owner of that on what they're actually using the property for now.
Okay.
So from the legal standpoint, the property used to be, well, actually, the applicant's property and the bunkhouse owner, it was under common ownership up until September. And now there was a newly created easement for access from Hines Road that guarantees ingress and egress to the bunkhouse property through the applicant's property.
Other way.
Yeah.
Through the bunkhouse property to the applicant.
Are one of these properties the bunkhouse property?
Yes.
Yeah.
The 14-acre parcel,
The one on the bottom.
796.
All right. So there's currently a shared drive, and there's a formal agreement for it.
Yeah.
And your proposal to do a lot line realignment doesn't change any of that.
No,
You're just changing the lot line, the rights on the driveway remain the same.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd mentioned that the town attorney should just look at that Schedule C of that document and, the whole document overall, obviously, but Schedule C might have to be amended a little bit because it was a exhibit showing the driveway with the current lot lines, but I don't know if that's semantics or not, but there could need to be an amendment on that.
You'd want to amend the agreement at least to change the lot drawings, the parcel.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So I'd
makes
leave that
sense.
to the legal crew.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
Will the lot line create any setback violations?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, I don't believe so. There's an existing greenhouse that's fairly close, but I don't know if there's a accessory structure setback requirement in the code.
It looked like a small greenhouse. Do you know if it was over 120 square feet?
I don't know. I'll measure it.
If it's over 120, it'll probably have to, meet whatever yard setback would be created by the new lot line there.
Okay,
There is a setback requirement for accessory structures.
over 120.
Even under 120,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's lesser for the under 120.
Okay.
Because that's your typical shed kind of setback, right?
It meets the definition of an accessory structure as a greenhouse, which makes it a non-conforming, you'd have to go before the ZBA to get a variance, possibly.
If the setback doesn't meet, okay.
If you create a setback issue, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
I'll take a look at
Greenhouse
it.
on your property?
It would be on the
on the
bunkhouse property.
It's on the bunkhouse property.
Wait, so the owner doesn't own both parcels?
He did up until recently.
Mr. Schindler bought the northern portion from the bunkhouse owner.
Right.
Oh, all right, because you'd have to own both parcels to do a lot line realignment.
Well, we have
No,
signatures
they're
from both.
both technically applicants.
Oh, they're both
Yeah, we have signatures from both
I got you.
owners.
Gotcha. Anybody from the board have a question or comment?
Where's the line moving?
It's right here now. You see how there's this parcel here, and there's this parcel here, okay? And so there's the line that divides them, it's moving from here to here, going like that.
Oh, they're just moving it.
They're just shifting it.
Yeah.
But it puts that line closer to the greenhouse.
Right.
Which then puts that in violation of the setback.
Right.
Yeah, possibly, we'll have to see.
Yeah. Well, I'm inclined to grant a waiver to, allow you to not have to do the trees and the topography based on the fact that there'll be no land disturbance.
Thank you.
But I withhold or reserve judgment in the event that if this progresses to a point that does have land disturbance, we may require you to locate some trees then.
It sounds like there's not, so where the driveway is, there's not it's not very overgrown, but it sounds like the fire advisory board is going to be the ones that are going to require or not require disturbance.
Right.
So we might maybe wait until we hear from them.
Do you want to wait for the waiver until you hear back from them?
Well, I mean.
I can waive it, like I said, I can waive it now with the condition that in the event that you have to do land disturbance later, I'm going to rescind our waiver.
However, I don't want to make a paperwork headache, so if you want to withhold it, we're going to have to come back to the
I'm okay either way.
Okay.
I don't think it's paperwork, right? We can do a motion to waive their requirement to survey topography and trees while reserving our right to request it later in the event that land disturbance is required for the project. So it's just how we write the motion.
Okay.
And then if you end up having to do disturbance, that's the condition that, annuls it, I guess.
Thank you.
So how do you guys feel about that?
That's fine.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to waive requirement to show topography and to survey topography and to show trees with the condition that if there is disturbance or land disturbance in the future, we reserve the right to request you conduct those surveys at that time.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
For the record, I guess that would be 130-12H, 130-20A6, 130-12E is related to topo, and 130-20A2 is related to topo.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you think the fire advisory board could potentially say, like either widen, and I think you said widen and show emergency pull-offs, but not a whole nother, or potentially a whole nother driveway?
Probably not a whole nother driveway, but fire code calls for emergency vehicle pull-offs every 500 feet. It's in our town code as well.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where somebody's asking for something and that opens up the opportunity to correct a nonconformity.
Which makes sense to do at this point.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying we'll ask for it then, if it's just they're widening or they're just showing a couple emergency that may not require topography or whatever.
Wetlands here.
So, all right, so you're here for a discussion. Is there anything else anybody would like to discuss?
We did mention also that in accordance with seeker, this would be a simple lot line realignment, so 617.5C16 deems simple lot line realignments as type 2 actions, so you could deem the action type 2 tonight as well if you want.
I'll make a motion to deem this action type 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I got Claude in on that one.
Yeah.
I only got 10 words left.
I pressured him into, all right, and then if it's type 2, we don't have to do a lead agency notice.
No.
So, that's good. Okay, so that's some progress.
Yeah?
Is there anything else? What's the next step?
Can we schedule a public hearing?
Do we have sufficient information, or should we wait to hear back from the from the fire advisory
We
board?
don't have all the information necessary to grant sketch approval yet, so we shouldn't be setting a public hearing at that point, really.
Do you have to vote to set a public hearing? Or
We do, yeah, we have to make
can
a
we,
motion to vote.
can we
on it.
set it for January?
Well, what Dan is saying was we need more information in the drawings.
Yeah,
And so, once we get more information, then we've been burned on public hearings. We've set them, and then the drawings drastically changed. We set them, went through a public hearing, got public notice, closed the public hearing, and then the project changed a lot.
Okay.
And then that wasted a lot of our public's time.
okay,
So we practically vowed to not allow, to proceed to a public hearing until we have sufficient amount of information on the drawings.
okay,
It's really preliminary, because once the public hearing's closed, the shot clock starts.
Yeah,
So
I know.
what the board has been doing lately is making sure that it's generally informed for preliminary approval. So you have to go even advance through more than what mine was, but also include like 130-20 items and stuff like that.
okay. I'm trying to avoid a third meeting. Is it possible to vote to allow a public hearing should all the information be received?
Well, we have to convene,
Okay,
to do that.
all right.
So we can't preemptively set a public hearing on condition that the materials
You
received.
can't conditionally set a hearing, it has to be for a date certain, so it's gonna have to go to the third meeting.
But I mean, we can have a public hearing and progress the project at that meeting. If it's like go to preliminary approval or something? Or for condition final approval at,
Yeah, if
After-
if all those sections of the code are met, then yeah, that is a possibility.
so we could save on that side of it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Have a good night.
You too, take care.
Still got one more? You always gotta check the back of the sheet too, you know? Remember, we got to the bottom and then we looked at the back and there was like 3 other.
Yeah.
All right, the next item is, and the final item is Lennar Plum Court Lot 9, lot line adjustment. And I think this is for an extension.
Yes, it is. Good evening. Adam Weckstein from law firm of Hockerman, Tortorella, and Weckstein. I represent Lennar New York LLC, which was one of the co-applicants for the lot line adjustment. Michael Sweeney is the other applicant, or co-applicant. We are here to ask for another extension, and I'm happy to go back through the underlying facts, but in essence, the lot line extension was to correct surveying errors that had occurred when the subdivision was laid out and staked out, to realign Lot 9, to add pieces to it, and to take out a piece to ultimately be conveyed to the town at the front of the lot into the right-of-way of Plum Court Drive. Second part of it also was to reconfigure and utility sewer and water easements running in favor of Dutchess County Water and Wastewater so that it would no longer run under Mr. Sweeney's house. Since you granted the approval in November, almost exactly a year ago, of 2024, we have drafted all the legal instruments. They've been signed off by both your council and DCWWA's council. We've gotten health department sign off. When they sign off on a plan like this, all they do is say, we don't have jurisdiction because nothing is happening in essence. We are ready to go with one exception that's beyond Lennar's control, which is that the lot, as are most lots, is subject to liens. Mr. Sweeney's lot, not Lennar's property. And although we gave him an updated title report on July 16th and have been trying to get him to do so, he has not yet cleared the liens. And therefore, we can't undertake the transaction at this point, particularly ultimately if we are going to offer for dedication the piece of the property that's within the right-of-way of the road, or would become part of the right-of-way of the road. Town can't take it, or won't take it, both, with a lien on it. So this is my long-winded way of asking if you could grant us another extension, one day past your February meeting. You've been kind enough to do that, to allow us to come back. And if you're sticking to your convention, I think that would be February 20th, if I'm not mistaken. Should be the third Thursday.
February 19 is the February meeting.
Okay. If I'm good at math, I would
90
be
days
able-
gives you until the 18th, so 91 days would give you till February 19.
So if the board would be willing to do that, it would be greatly appreciated.
Okay,
I recommend it.
go ahead.
It's recommended you grant the extension since it's not Lennar that is the source of these delays. It's beyond their control with third parties, especially this lender who has to sign off as a partial release to the mortgage. Correct?
Yeah, that is my understanding. Again, we obviously haven't had direct contact with Mr. Sweeney's mortgagee, but that's what we understand is holding it up.
So just so I understand, the neighbor, you share a lot line, we're shifting, and I remember the property, and
Yes.
I actually remember all this. It was an interesting, and I'm glad you're resolving this issue, or moving to resolve it. The neighbor has a lien on his property, and he has to clear it before we can change the lot line?
He doesn't have to clear it before you can change the lot line, but part of what we are proposing is to take the front portion that he is conveying to Lennar so that it can be conveyed to the municipality. And he can't even convey it to us, presumably without having a default under his mortgage
Right.
unless the bank signs off. I haven't seen his mortgage, but if you sell a piece of property that's subject to your mortgage, almost every mortgage that I've ever seen would give grounds for a foreclosure. So that would be number one. And number two would be ultimately we want to give it to the town. So even if he could convey it with the lien on it, the town's not going to want to take it with that lien on it.
Yeah, all right.
So, and I don't think the client would want to go ahead with it unless it's a clean transaction where it's just the two parties.
So are they working on it? Is there a prospect that this is going to get done in the next 3 months?
I have spoken to his attorney on a regular basis, sent him emails on a regular basis. They said they're working on it. I don't have direct knowledge. We reached a point because it was July 16th when we gave him the updated title report. We wanted to make sure everything was up to date. We've gotten to the point where if this keeps going on, we're going to have to find some other way to apply pressure or frankly walk away from the subdivision, and he'll have to deal with the issues that affect his lot
Yeah,
on his own.
yeah. All right.
That is not our preference. We want
Is
to
there
get this
still-
wrapped up. After years, we want to get this wrapped up.
Is there still a pending lawsuit in Supreme Court?
No, there is not. That was settled in 2023. This is part of that settlement, what we're doing. You are correct. So
Alright.
some of these actions, I should say, some of these actions are required by the settlement agreement.
So he's technically is he in contempt of that order?
I don't want to give the legal opinion without going back and look at it. I think there is certainly an obligation on his part to act in good faith to do it. He is required by the literal terms, both parties are by the literal terms of the agreement, to clear the liens on the property so that the transaction can occur. Lennar doesn't happen to have any liens on this part of the property.
All right, well, I mean, I appreciate that you're trying to resolve the issue again. We have lots of issues in our town with lot lines, and it's always good that we take care of that, and you're taking all the right measures to do that. I'm sympathetic to your situation, and I'm inclined to extend your application period. But what are what are the other planning board members saying?
No, we got to move this forward.
You guys are okay? All right, so we just need to, Dan, is there anything else you wanted to say, or?
No, I believe Mr. Sweeney was even here during the approval process, so I tend to believe that he wants to get this done as well. So, you know, I can see lenders and attorneys for lenders and all that being really difficult little situation. So
Yeah.
I would also echo what Craig said and suggest that the board consider extending it because of that.
It's a lot line adjustment, right?
Yeah, it was a lot line realignment, and even to go back further, there was a time when most of the homeowners all signed up to do the lot line realignment to fix the other issues throughout the subdivision, except for Mr. Sweeney.
Correct. It was in
So-
2011 that it came to fruition, and your board actually set these parcels up so that if he ultimately agreed to go along with it, the pieces we would be conveying to him would be part of his lot, and the piece he's conveying to us would be part of the right-of-way for the road. That was part of the way it was set up when you approved it.
Don't you remember?
No, I do.
It was
No, I do.
2011.
No, I
You
do.
remember?
I do remember.
You do?
It was actually remarkable
'Cause I
that
don't.
every other
I was
homeowner
here at the
agreed.
time. Good memory.
I'm just wondering if somehow you could separate that parcel out and to satisfy a portion of the lien.
I'm not in a position to do that. I talked to his attorney and I will talk to him again, but I obviously don't deal with his bank.
All right, so what we'd be looking at is extending their conditioned final approval
Correct.
to February 19th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Peter. Who seconds? Second? All right, second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Objections?
No.
Hearing none? Unanimously approved.
Thank you very much. Have wonderful holidays, and I
You
hope,
too.
no offense, I hope I don't see you in February.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening. All right.
So Sweeney didn't have a mortgage.
It would have been fine, but he
Did they close
does.
the meeting?
So they got
Would've
to-
been easier.
Got to close the meeting.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. All right, great.